Okay, well, welcome everybody. Ang Wan, kamagala kamna, kamagala kasuda, tingunang way, unang nasakta kuyak. I am one of the hosts of this gathering. We welcome you to listen to the elders who are with. Welcome everybody. Ang Wan.
Sorry. And we're good, right? Sorry.
Okay, sorry about that. That was YouTube. And Kelly, we're going to say an opening prayer first. And it'll be with Mona Palaka, who I will introduce later. Mona.
Am I unmuted?
You are unmuted.
Okay. Camus, let's say, Escali, thank you. Reading each and every one of you, and thank you for joining us. Join me in this prayer. Say your own prayer along with me. Homastum hopa chach kdik akik bakuba. Call upon you now this time, giving thanks to you again for this beautiful, wonderful day that you brought our way. Give thanks to you again for all of the divine creations, the water, the air, the fire, the earth. Calling upon you again and giving thanks to you for all of our ancestors, the one who made a path for us to come to this time. Join us here as we share our teachings, share our words. Bless each and every one of us as we come together, mind, heart, body, spirit, in a good way. Touch the hearts and minds of all of us so that we might be able to come together in this important time. And watch over us too here again throughout this day. And bless each and every one of our loved ones, our relatives, especially the ones that are less fortunate than us, the ones that are struggling at this time in their health. You might bless them, as well as all of our plant life, our animal life, the four-legged, the winged. Here again, I give thanks to you for this time, this moment that you gave to us. As you could be with us here again, wherever we are at this time, this moment, sharing our time together. You might bless it for us. Say these things to you for all my relations. Esculi, 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 esculi.
Thank you, Mona. And I have asked Kumu Sabra from Hawaii to sing us a song, if you would.
My pleasure. Aloha mai kaku. Greetings to everyone here from the island of Kauai. The chant that I am going to do for you speaks of the rising sun. And as the sun warms the earth, so does it bring with it the warmth of our elders, of our kupuna, who have set our path. Ea e kalama kahikina, kahiki mai kuha kupuna e. Kuka hali ai hali awai kini, wai ale hale molale e, eia e na puale mo ki ana, kama wahi lualani ua vehi e vehi ia aloha e. Aloha ku'one hana ue, aloha no, aloha e. Mano kalani po, aloha e. Aloha no, aloha e. Mano kalani po, aloha e. Aloha mai kākou. Greetings.
Okay, well, welcome honored elders and invited guests. We welcome you to this unique talk that of people who have deep wisdom. And Kelly, if you would do the introduction first.
Also streaming from Kauai, Hawaii. I'm one of the co-founders of Wisdom Weavers of the World. And it all began as a vision that Kuyo Alarian had a vision after asking his heart, what can I do? What can I do to help in these times? And simultaneously, I had a dream that there was a gathering here on Kauai of elders. And so I called him, and obviously it sparked this beautiful beginning. And here we are. It's such a celebration to feel this beautiful weaving of all these traditions coming together in the heart. So I'm just so delighted and honored for hearing the call and for the magic and the support that has brought us to this moment. So it began as this first gathering in 2017 here on Kauai with 13 elders and an incredible crew of volunteers and film crew that then produced the film that many of you may have seen this Wednesday, the Wisdom of the World film. And so now it's growing and the ripples are expanding like a pebble in the pond. It's rippling out and it's connecting all of our hearts, those of us that have been yearning to come together with what is true, to come together from that ancient place of listening to all of our relatives and the elements and walking in a way that we're listening to that source guidance. And so that's what this time is now, is to have these webinars and events where people can gather and these wisdom streams can continue to weave together and that we can move together as a common humanity. So we're so delighted to have all the elders here today and many supporters, and we thank you all for your care to bring us to this point. All the donations of volunteer time and money and work that people have poured into this. And to me, it's like a living garden, seeing how we organically collaborate and watch something grow slowly and mindfully. And our team has dedicated the past 3 years to growing this so intentionally, and it's part of what we would like to continue to share with the world. How do we grow together as a human family and create a lasting legacy, much like our ancestors did for us to be here today? And so we want to weave the ancient ways into the new world that we give our children and our grandchildren. So this is just a powerful blossoming of wisdom weavers and of our human weaving of all these ancient wisdom streams into this present moment. So thank you. And now we're going to do the introductions of the elders.
Yeah, Kelly, would you introduce the three elders, and then we're asking those people to talk after we introduce everyone.
Yeah. And one more piece I just wanted to add about wisdom weavers is part of our purpose is holding a space for the elders to have a safe container to meet each other and share, and also to weave other people and organizations of like-hearted intentions. And so this is a continued weaving. So I really want to honor that. So I have the great honor in this time to introduce Kumu Sabra Kauka, who's just down the road here from me. Aloha, neighbor. So Kumu Sabra, she's an educator, a historian, and an activist here on Kauai. She spent 20 years as a freelance photojournalist working for publications such as Time, Life, and National Geographic. She's a Hawaiian Studies Kumu, or teacher, at the Island School here on Kauai. And she teaches hula, and she's the coordinator for the Department of Education Hawaiian Studies Huna program. She's a kumu, or teacher of kapa, which is the beautiful ancient art of pounding the vauke, the bark cloth. and she's taught many hundred of students and team members of the Kulia I Kanu'u project at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Founding member and past president of Napali Coast Ohana, a grassroots nonprofit foundation dedicated to the preservation of the natural and cultural resources of the Napali Coast State Park here on Kauai. Amau ana ke o ka'aina I na haunana o kawa mamua, preserving the life of the land for future generations. And e kalamai for not pronouncing it very well. The work at Nualolo Kai by the combined efforts of the Ohana, DLNR, and state parks is considered one of the most successful curatorship programs in Hawaii. She serves on the Garden Island Resource Conservation and Development Board and has worked tirelessly for years to restore and preserve culturally significant sites. Mahalo kumasebra. And next, I get to introduce Dr. Sherif Abdullah. Aloha, Sherif. He is an African-American who grew up in New Jersey's toxic backyard. He is now an international worldwide peacemaker, an inclusivity activist, and a spiritual consciousness leader. He is an author, trainer, and a leading catalyst for inclusive social, cultural, and spiritual transformation. Sherif is an expert in understanding how human populations interact and change. Sherif teaches groups and individuals how to understand and practice inclusivity, the connection with all other beings. Sherif has crisscrossed the planet, taking his inclusivity work to over 40 different countries and over 120 distinct cultures, working with groups who struggle with their differences, including heads of state and poor rice farmers, peace activists, and members of militias. He has appeared on several international globalization forums. Sherif's peacemaking efforts contributed to the 2002 historic ceasefire in the 30-year-old ethnic civil war in Sri Lanka. He's the founder and president of the Common Way Institute. Blessings to you, Sherif. Thank you. And I get to introduce my dear Kuyok, Ilarion Merculius. Ilarion is Unangan, also known as Aleut in American terms, from Alaska, from the Pribilof Islands in the Bering Sea. He's the founder of the Global Center for Indigenous Leadership and Lifeways. Ilarion Larry is the visionary behind Wisdom Weavers, the project founder and ongoing key speaker. Raised in a traditional Unangan way, he received his Unangan name Kuyok at the age of 4 by the last Kuyok left alive. The name is given to one person in each lifetime amongst his people. Kuyok means an arm extending out from the body, a carrier of ancient knowledge into modern times, a messenger. He started his career in modern Western society at age 18 as an advocate for his tribe and at DC University representing Native American students, and then went on to being co-chair and head of 17 boards and councils until he jumped. Ever since then, he has been living the legacy of his name, Kuyok. And I'll pass it on to you, my friend.
Okay. Thank you for those introductions, Kelly. I'll introduce an honored elder, Mona Ann Palaka, and she's Hopi Havasupai Tiwai elder, the founding member of the International Council of the Indigenous Grandmothers. The council is a group of spiritual elders and wisdom weavers whose mission is to preserve and protect indigenous earth-based medicine and culture and promote oneness consciousness. Mona has an MSW and is a member of the Colorado River Indian tribe of Parker, Arizona. She is known for her social, spiritual, and leadership activism and is featured conference speaker nationally and internationally. She's the president and CEO of and faculty of the Turtle Island Project, a nonprofit program dedicated to promoting a vision of wellness and providing transcultural training to individuals, family, and healthcare professionals. Her intercontinental work among Indigenous peoples include assisting the First Nations of Canada in drafting of the water declarations and South American peoples in collective effort call for protection of the cultural and sacred waters on the lands and territories of Indigenous peoples of the world. Mona served as an Indigenous delegate to the world religious leaders in drafting the faith in human rights statement that religion and spiritual benefits and practices are a human right. She participates in the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Peoples Issues. And for the last 12 years, she has been a member of and co-secretariat of the international group planning the Indigenous World Forum on Water and Peace. So welcome, Mona. We're glad to have you. Next is Suzanne Sweebold. She is from Canada, and she's an artist, explorer, teacher. Actually, she is the oldest member thus far of our Elders Council, and she is the first white elder, because the white color, sacred white color, needs their elders, and the elders wanted to have her in the council to show that eldership is not limited to Indigenous people, what we call Indigenous people. Anyway, she's an artist, explorer, teacher, and naturalist. Her artistic vision and passionate curiosity have led her to collaborate with renowned paleontologists, the Bering Sea Allied communities, and modern dance choreographer. And we actually met some 40 years ago or so on St. Paul Island. So Suzanne has a BFA from Chicago Art Institute and University of Chicago, and an MFA, University of Michigan. She has taught art, photography, and film in the US and Canada. The recipient of Canada's highest award in the arts. Suzanne has produced independent documentary films and published widely in periodicals and books. Suzanne produced and filmed 4 documentary films with the Unangan people of the Pribilof Islands. That's where I'm from, and that's where we met. The Commander Islands in Russia. She's a research associate at the Arctic Institute of North America, University of Calgary. She has been invited to lecture and conduct seminars internationally on her film techniques and conservation efforts in the Bering Sea. Welcome, Suzanne. Next is Edward Sparks. He is also known, and Suzanne and Edward are probably the people that I've known the longest of the people in the Wisdom Weavers. I've known him for, I don't know, 30 years. He is known as Ed Holy Pipe Chanupa Wakan Hanka, Oglala Lakota of the Red Cloud family of the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. Following the Lakota Wichokan or Lakota way of being since boyhood. He was a captain in the US Army and the Army National Guard, retired. A traditional dancer and ceremonial pipe carrier after the Mato Wikasa Bearman or vision of the bear way of life. Conducting the traditional Onikata Kaga of Inipi sweat lodge and the pipe ceremony for the people in Alaska for the last 30 years. And he said, just Iksai Wikasa, a common man. And he's traveled all over Alaska and Anchorage and Chugiak, Wasilla, and now Trapper Creek area. Welcome, Edward. Okay, so we'll start with the presentations now, and Kelly. Oh, by the way,
Larry.
I forgot to introduce Olivia. She is my co-facilitator for this gathering. And she and I have worked together quite a bit, particularly in presentations that we make in a lot of places. And she is a millennial. So we have the youth and the elders together. You were going to say something, Olivia?
Yeah, I'd like to introduce as well the elders.
Oh, yes. Forgive me.
Okay. Are you ready for me to do that?
Go ahead.
Okay. Hey everyone, my name's Olivia, as Ilarian said. We will be hosting multiple events such as this one. So stay tuned. This is one with many elders, and as we go forward, we'll be having others as well, in which a particular elder, or maybe 2 or 3, go more in depth with their stories and their messages. So thanks for being here today with so many. And thank you, all of you who are here to share your wisdom today with the public. I'll introduce the 3 remaining elders for the introductions, which are Louis Cardinal, Pacha Conche, and Helen Corbett. So the first one I'll share is about Louis. Louis Cardinal is a communicator and educator. He's dedicated his life's work to creating and maintaining connections across cross-cultural divides. And he's working towards his personal vision of a socially just and responsible society. He has a long track record of public service, which includes being a founding board member of the Alberta Aboriginal Arts, board member of Theatre Network, co-chair of the Aboriginal Commission for Human Rights and Justice, and board emeritus of the Council for a Parliament of World Religions, just to mention a few. He has a lot of awards. Are you ready? He's received Queen Elizabeth II's Diamond Jubilee Medal for Public Service, the Inspire Award for Public Service, which is the highest award given to an Indigenous person by Indigenous people in Canada, the Province of Alberta's Centennial Medal for his work in human rights and diversity, the Distinguished Alumni Award from Grant MacEwan University, and he was recently conferred to the honorary degree of Doctor of Sacred Letters from St. Stephen's College at the University of Alberta. Louis is Woodland Cree from the Sucker Creek Cree First Nation in Northern Alberta, Canada. He has a consulting company named Cardinal Strategic Communications, and it specializes in Indigenous education, governance, and communications. Welcome, Louis. Thank you for being here. I'll now introduce Pacha Conche. He is also known as Harrison Caicedo Santibanez. His ancestral name, Pacha Conche, means the sun glint that penetrates the earth. He has spent his life learning spiritual practices of his ancestors and elders. He has also walked many of the territories of his native land, learning and sharing with many different native ethnic groups. Today, he often accompanies the National Council of Indigenous Elders in Colombia to translate and to act as a spokesperson. He travels a great deal, sharing and teaching how to coexist in harmony with the spirit and wisdom of Mother Earth. Thank you, Pacha. Thank you for being here with us today. And the last introduction I will make is for Helen Corbett. Helen is the executive director of All One Sky Foundation, which is a Canadian charitable organization that focuses on climate change and its impact on vulnerable populations. Helen has worked as a writer, editor, and documentary filmmaker for 3 decades. She worked with Suzanne Swiebold on films and community development projects on the Pribilof Islands, Alaska, and Commander Islands, Russia. Helen has worked in the climate change field since 2001, communicating complex environmental issues to the public. She has a BA from University of Alberta and a Bachelor of Journalism from Carleton University. She's a research associate at the Arctic Institute of North America, University of Calgary. Helen received a Ford Fellowship in Environmental Politics from the University of California, Berkeley, and has received 2 Mesa Refuge Fellowships for environmental journalism. Helen, welcome, and thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Olivia. Now we'll go to Kelly to introduce the first speaker. Kelly, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Yeah, I think what would be wonderful is just to, if you want to, shall we speak the intention of this call for the viewers?
Oh, very good. Thank you. It seemed like we had over 12,000 views on Earth Day of the film, that short film.
20,000.
20,000. Okay, 20,000 since Earth Day. And and the biggest question that we have is, how does one go to the heart? And so the general theme would be why and how we can get to your heart. But I also suggested that the elders can talk about anything that they want to talk about. So, Kelly?
I'm going to pass on to Olivia because I know she's prepared some things as well. Or is
Who did?
Olivia?
Did what?
Isn't Olivia? Also?
Okay.
No, it's a hot potato. It's ready to jump into someone's lap. So welcoming this opportunity. We had a wonderful check-in yesterday with the elders and just welcome this incredible space to invite in the wisdom of your hearts. And we'd like to open it up to who feels inspired from the heart to share ways you connect with your heart and ways you may share with your community and your youth how to connect with their hearts.
So you're not going to introduce the next speaker?
No.
Oh.
We already did that, Larry.
Did it? That's what I'm gonna do.
Well, I mean, have the next speaker come on. Thank you.
Ayoka in the house. That's good. We all needed to laugh together.
Right. So aren't we going to have the next speaker come on?
Yeah. How do you want to facilitate that?
Just ask the next speaker to come on and talk about whatever they want.
Okay, beautiful. I would love to open up. How about Suzanne? I would love to welcome you to share because you always bring such good lighthearted reflections.
Now, please notice the seal on Suzanne's chest from the Pribilof Islands. Larion is shaking his head because he remembers this shirt is probably 30 years old.
Well, thank you very much for all the introductions and getting to know everybody. So one of the things I'd like to kind of set a thought about is that we're really into disruption. And with disruption comes a lot of emotions, and it's all over the world now. And many times people don't like to talk about disruption, or they do with anger, resentment, guilt, a whole pile of stuff. But I've talked a lot with some of my art students that I'm teaching right now, and who look at a blank piece of paper and go, ah! And so I say, you're in a disruption, make a mark on the paper first. Oh, so then we get started. So the whole process of disruption is what I tell my students, and I tell all of us, we wouldn't even be here if there wasn't disruption. Do you realize that? Yao, where's Yao? Where's Yao?
She's coming.
She's coming.
We
We talked the other day, Yao, about the women and the womb. So you must know about disruption, yeah?
I thought you were inviting me to come to the screen as the interruption to the disruption to his life. I'm his wife.
Burn on that one.
This is my wife and partner, by the way. Her name is Yael,
Yeah, yeah.
and we have 2 beautiful daughters.
So what I'm starting with disruption is the womb is fertilized. We're carrying around, us women are carrying around a baby, yeah? And how many months, yeah? Then there's a disruption. Oops, help. Someone's ready to come out. That's a disruption. My life has been going along a certain way, and all of a sudden my life's going to be changed for a hell of a long time. So out comes a baby. All of us are disruptors. We got out of the womb. That's a disruption. So now, once we come out, now we have to look at what's happening to our life now, because now we're going to be mother or father, who's going to be a father to this disruption, and da 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 da. So that's why I want to talk about how disruption works in us all the time. And yet we have a disruption, a worldwide disruption right now with the disease, and we're having fits. And we don't have patience, and we don't realize that we actually attract everything that happens to us. It doesn't just happen, it doesn't fall out of the sky in a nicely wrapped package. Disruption comes many times when we don't know anything about it. And I had some little kids say, well, about disruption. And I said, you ever see a butterfly? Oh, I said, where did butterfly come from? And then I see this caterpillar going up a leaf. And I said, see that gorgeous caterpillar crawling up that leaf? It's going to become a butterfly. Oh, what else in our world is a result of disruption? And from disruption, there's change. And we're into it right now globally. We're into change. We're having to deal with a massive disruption. We don't even know how to cure it. We have to have tons of patience. And with patience comes wisdom. Because we have to go to that quiet place many times a day even, and sit quietly. Who is me? Who is me? What am I doing? And in that quietness, this is the generator. This is the generating process that finally goes to the heart. But we have to go through that calmness, quietness, and ask, who is me? And with change, what comes with change? Growth. We would never grow if we didn't have disruption. We'd never have a butterfly. We'd never have an egg for breakfast. They'd all be chickens. So we have to look at life and say, what are the disruptions that will help me change? And what comes with change? Terror, fear. Don't disrupt me. See the word, don't disrupt me. Don't make me change. Well, how are you going to change? So that's, and I'm talking mainly from the process of creating art. When you create art of any kind, whether it's music, dance, poetry, films, artwork, whatever, when you're creating, you're calling forth the unknown. And we talk about now, we're all here right now. What's going to be the change that'll start taking place when we're closed down after this meeting today? And you go off and say, oh, I heard someone say this, and I heard so-and-so say this, and so-and-so say that. Wow. And from that, if we allow it, we will have growth. And that's why in creativity, if we nurtured creativity more, the expression of our feelings, then we go into this unknown territory, because every time you say a word or start a sentence or put a mark on a piece of paper, you've started your artwork. You raise arm and you start a modern dance or whatever. But it's the unknown, it's the disruption, and it's the growth that we have the hardest time with. So that's basically what I'd just like to put down, because right now, of course, being from Canada and Halifax, we're dealing with a massive disruption. And with that disruption, we have LOSS, loss. Help. I've had loss. A lot of us are crying like crazy. We don't have to know who that person is. We can feel the loss. But with that loss, and I had one of my students the other day, and she's celebrating her first day of being 80. They're my art students. And she said, I didn't think I'd ever get over the loss of my daughter when she died. But she said, I found out not many months later, I found out something was growing with me, something big understanding, something that was changing me. Instead of staying weeping, crying about the loss of my daughter, is I'm growing into something beautiful about this whole procedure. But a lot of our culture, our white culture anyway, doesn't like to talk about that. I've been around more Native people that have no problem talking about this. But that's what I want to talk about. That process is usually from disruption. The first thing is anger, resentment, guilt, all kinds of negative emotions come out. And if we could just take that as going to the inner trip in here, in the mind, is where the spirit is. And I've said before that which isn't born cannot die. Our spirit simply is. And everything that is spirit. And you people as Native people, you know that from going out looking at a blade of grass, or picking up a leaf, that the color is changing. Whoa! Or looking at a branch of a tree and there's a bud coming up. Wow. There's no, yeah, the buds are coming up. No. Watch a bud. Pick one and watch and see what happens. What's starting to come out. Gorgeous. And that's the process of when we face this loss. We have to forgive or we will never heal. And when we forgive, we have to forgive everyone. Everyone. And that takes some work, because we have to look inside ourselves and say, each one of us are connected. I'm connected to every one of you here. No matter what color, race, or where you come from, or language you speak, any of that. We're all connected by this thing called spirit in here. And that spirit is the one that activates the heart. Oh, so I can't go around calling Donald Trump names. He's my brother. Oh, how can it be? And after they calm down, I say, I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about a human being. A human being. That's where we have to forgive everyone. Everyone. And that gets into people talking about natives or non-natives, or they're the hootsy wootsy, they're holding up the oil pipeline in Alberta and all that. So I said, come on, you guys, come on. We're all human beings and we're trying to make the right kind of decisions that involve not only jobs and money, but involve our earth, the mother that's trying to feed us. The mother is continually trying to feed us. Go out and look at that bud. Go up and look at what's coming out of the soil. And that's every time, I mean, I'm 80 years old, 82, I don't know how old I am anymore. But anyway, when I go out into nature, and it's right out the door here. And the other day we had 3 mule deer come walking in through the gate. What's going on? Oh, they're here again. They're here again. The deer in the yard going around the teepee, trying to find some food. They're chewing on my treasured antlers that I have outside here and blah, blah, blah. But that is what our joy is we're part of disruption. And that's what my whole theme is from disruption, there is change. And if you follow it, there is growth. And when you see in your heart and see in the inner trip that we all belong to each other, that's where we just forgive. And you can name the person, whatever it is, but it's called knowing yourself. Because you and I are everyone. So that's fine. Thank you. Am I muted? Yes, it says muted.
Thank you, Suzanne, for those words of wisdom. Next, we're going to have Pacha, because in Colombia, they have trouble with connection. So who
He's going to try in English, and if not,
he's going to try in English, and if not, Yvonne will interpret for him. Pacha.
Hi to everyone. You can listen me?
Yes.
Thank you very much for the invitation. In English, for a short message from my elders and all my people here in Colombia. In this moment, I'm in the mountains. I have a little bad connection, but I try to share all the things that we are doing here. We have 2 months in concentrations. We're doing a very deep connection with our medicines, and they speak with us. Our spirits say the important to connect with the spirit, to the heart. Our elders say it's the time to know this moment is very history. This is very important to connect with our mind and our heart, because we need to doing all our ceremonies for make the connection to all the people. I try to understand all the things that happen in this moment around the world. All the people have fear. All the people are scared. But is the moment to know the right reason that we are here. All the people have a mission, and this mission, this important mission in this moment, is connected with our spirit and our heart. I try to say all the tribes in Colombia and on all the parts of the world are doing this, are doing the best for heal, are doing the best for sharing his tradition. He are doing the best for sharing all the knowledge, because it's the moment to share all the secrets of the Mother Earth. Our motherland speak, and they say you need to send energy, you need to send all good thoughts to all the parts of the world. Our mountains speak in Ayahuasca ceremony, in coca leaf ceremony, in our minds and our hearts, and they say, our spirits say, is the prophetic moment. In this moment are all the prophecies are accomplished, all the prophecies, all the great message of the people of the sky are in the moment to be done. And we say, what is our mission right now? We need to forgive. We need to make peaceful in our heart. We need to make harmony with all the people around us. We need to forgive our sister, our friend, our brother, our father, our mother. We need to make harmony with all our relations. Is the first step to make heal our heart. All the people have buildings in his back, carrying and carrying, but we need to to liberate all the shares. We need to liberate all the heart. I don't have a good English, but the only thing that I feel is the feeling to communicate with my heart, the message of my spirits of my land. All the people, the mamos in the Sierra Nevada, the Taitas in the Amazon, all the people are connected, doing his ceremonies for heal and help all the people. This moment is very important for the people are listen us. All of you are great elders, guide, sending energies, and all the people are doing good things in his home. All the people are uh, doing good things, but in this moment we need to to connect it with inside, with our soul, with our spirit. I listening. Is the right moment for the woman to connect to make more connection with his womb. Is the right moment to the men's to doing the real connection to the great Father, the great Spirit. Is the right moment to make the connection with our motherland. All the people in the world are scared, but we have a message. It's not time for scared. It's time for make harmony inside of us. You are living with your mom, with your mom. You are living this historic moment in our home, in our home. Our motherland are crying. We listen. Yes, all his sons and all his daughters are make sick. Our elders say, you see, the the grandmothers and the grandfathers are dying. Why? Why the memory of our grandmothers and our grandfathers are dying? What happened with this virus coming from the earth? What happened? Why? This is a message. We need we need to give the best of us. Doesn't matter if tomorrow we are not here. We go to the spirit world. Doesn't matter. The most important thing that we are doing here, and we are doing, and what the things we are doing here, we are sharing the little things that we have, and they are great things. It's important for all of us to know this moment we are sharing, this moment we are accompanying, this moment we are have message, and we want to share that. And the only things that we say is we are connected with the spirit. Maybe you don't understand me. I don't know what I say in English. The only thing I say is I want to feel my heart. I want to all of you feel our heart, the heart of indigenous people, but the heart of the men, the heart of the young woman and the young men, the heart of the spirits that speak with us, and they say it's a great moment for change our mind and change our heart, to make reflections. What are doing with my life? You are in your home and you feel scared because you can't go outside. Don't worry. It's the right moment to get inside your real home. It's the right moment to get inside to your real home. Is your heart. All the people are mm, encerrados. All the people are inside of his home scared. But when you see inside of himself, this is our real home, our heart. It's the right moment to get inside of us. It's the right moment to forgiveness. It's the right moment to make harmony with our fathers and our mothers. It's the right moment to say what I can do for heal myself, for heal my family, for heal our motherland, our great space. And for finish, the only thing that I can share is we are connected, and all of you, we are thinking, all of you are in our hearts, all of you are in my mountain, and I am the guardian of the space, of this space. But and this mountain speak with me and say, tomorrow you speak with the people, and tomorrow the people understanding is the time for heal, is the time for get inside of our real home, is our heart. This is our real home. And this motherland is our great mother, and they feed us, but she say, is the moment for make harmony with all the planet. Thanks to all of you, because this moment is very prophetic moment for make these reunions, for sharing the real knowledge, for make a new humanity, for make a new race with all the races. Is the right moment for make a new family in the world, people who want to take care the motherland, people who want to make real sense the existence. This is time for the real existence. It's time for reflection. All the things that happen in the world is a very reflection for our life. The people are dying, yes, but we are reborn. We are born again. We are in our reflections. I born all the time. I reborn. I breathe, and I say it's time to breathe again, to make birth of myself. I need to make life again of myself. And and with this message, we say, your heart and my heart are connected. We are in the same path of the life. And maybe I in this mountain in Colombia, and you are in New Zealand, in USA, but we breathe the same air. We breathe the same mother word. And in this moment, we feel happy because all of us are connected. My heart are connected with all of you, and all of you are connected to my heart. I'm very peaceful for all of you, and harmony with your family, harmony in your mind, and harmony in all your place. Thank you very much for all of you to listen this word. It's not my word, it's the word of this mountain. All of this place, I speak with you, and I doing the best of me. Thank you very much, and thanks for inviting me. I doing the best for sharing and continue with these reunions. Thanks, and all the Council of Colombia, all our elders, 115 elders are connected with all of you too, doing ceremonies and healing all the path of the way of this moment of history. We love all of you. We are loving all of you, and it's moment to connect more deep. Thank you very much, and have a good time. Beautiful people, beautiful men, beautiful women. You are so beautiful because you are the sons of the Mother Earth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pacha, for the words of your lands. And I pray that the people here will listen and take into their hearts what you
Hola, señora.
okay. Then we should go to
Jeffrey.
Kelly. Who is the next speaker?
Let's see. I'm not sure. Let's see. Pacha, you might need to mute yourself. Are we good?
Pacha, que ahora le apagues al micrófono, ya.
Gracias. Olivia, I'd love to welcome you, sister, to help if you have a patient flow.
Gracias, ya lo apago. Have a
Gracias,
good time.
Pacha. Muchas gracias.
The
I
next
want to
speaker?
invite the natural flow of which of the elders feels that it's their time to speak now rather than me choosing.
Aho, wogla kahna. Mia yelo, chanumpo waka. Ampetu wogla kahna chante mita. My name's Edward. I'm Ed Holy Pipe, and I'd like to go ahead and speak after the young man from Colombia. He said some very powerful things that, as well as his sister from Canada, basically the same things about interconnection and being connected. And so the basic question of how do we do that? And the way that he does that is very similar to the way that probably in the past that we all did that, and what I continue to try and do myself. And that is to be quiet and listen, like our sister from Kauai had said yesterday. Like sister said today about the disruption, like he's saying his mountains, he's listening. Who is he listening to? He's listening to his ancestors. He's listening to the spirits of the mountains, to the spirit of our Mother Earth. In the Lakota way of being, we acknowledge all of the things that we call Wakan. When we say Wakan Tanka, what does that mean? Does that mean God? To a lot of people, that's the easiest translation. But we know what Wakan Tanka means by the things that are Wakan. Wakan can be translated as old or as inexplicable. Things such as the wind, the sun, the moon, all of the things that make up our existence. So here on Mother Earth, we try to step forward and teach our young people to walk in a sacred manner. And I concur that this is not the time for fear. And the fear that I see worldwide is actually bewildering to me, because it shows that we are no longer in connection. We're afraid, we're scared. This is common and a natural disruption, as sister said, throughout our lives. And in our way of living, we, many years ago in the time of High Hollowhorn, were given our first chanumpa from the white buffalo calf woman with the life ways, 7 sacred ways of living. And the pipe being at the center of those ways, because the promise was given by the woman when she came to the people that whatever we ask for with this pipe, when we do it the way that she had shown us, it will happen. She didn't say it might happen. She said it will happen. And I can speak to that with certainty. And so that's what I'd like to speak about today to the young people or anyone who's listening today, that there are certain things that I can speak to with certainty. And that is that we're not alone, that the promise that was given is real, and that our ancestors and your ancestors are there. Like for him in Colombia, they're in the mountain. For me here, they're here in Alaska. I had the privilege to travel to Central America, to the deep jungles there. And I met a person there who needed help. And so I had to do what I only know how to do, and that's pray with this. And when I cried out to the mountains and built my traditional ini tipi, the sweat lodge, to cry out to the spirits, at first there was quiet, and the people were quiet. And no one was answering. Finally, they answered me and said, "Who are you? Why are you singing these strange songs? What do you want?" The point being is that they answered me. And eventually, one of the spirits of the mountain, the deer, came down to help the person, to stay with that person. Because why? Because the promise is real. Because I asked. I was a stranger, a sojourner in that land. The spirits knew that I was not from that land. There was no one of those people that were there with me asking for that help. But they still answered me. This is the point. So as we need to do these things, how do we do those things? In our way of being, we do those things first with a pipe. This particular pipe was made for me by my likshis, by my uncles. When I was given my name, Chanumpa Wakan, it means holy pipe. This pipe is sacred to the people. This is not an easy name to carry. But my uncles made the pipe for me. So I was blessed in that way. We have another ceremony among the Lakota. It's called the throwing of the ball, or the ball game. Some people refer to it nowadays as lacrosse or this or that. But it's a symbolic game where the ball itself represents the gift of Tonkashila that each of us has an opportunity to get. And so this is the ball. I was able to catch the ball when the ball was thrown. The ball for me was this gift. And so I continue to work with my gift. All of you have a gift. But you say, Lakshi, what? I don't have a gift. What gift? I can't do anything. And it's because you need to connect to your heart and to your mind. How do you do that? In our Lakota way of being, the way that we do that is we homlecha. They come to the elder when something has disrupted, as Sister has said. Something has disrupted their life to where they're now broken. I'm broken. Help me. Unshimalayo. Oh Makiaya. Saying, pity me. Help me. And when you come to that place, when you're broken, is when it's time to come in, when I will open the door for you to come in to the Oinikaga, the Initipi, the sacred sweat lodge ceremony. Well, what is the sacred sweat lodge ceremony to us? It's a purification ceremony, yes, but it's also a doorway in and a doorway out. So it's the doorway in when you come in and you're broken, to reach out and to cry out. Crying is a universal amongst all nations, all peoples. So when you can cry is when you become humble. You humble yourself, you're crying, I can't, I'm broken. So come into the ini, reach out to the ancestors. Do these things that myself or your elders, other elders will tell you to do. Or you say, well, I'm not Indian. That don't mean nothing to me. Oh, it does, because here on the circle, on this sacred circle of life, is all of the directions, and it is a circle. And all of the circles, as you can see in this design, lead back to the center, and they all cross over. And it's at that point when you come to the center from whichever road you walk, because your road is different. Your truth is your truth, but you have to walk in your own truth. You cannot walk in a lie. You have to walk in your own truth. Your truth is your truth. It's not my truth. I have to walk my own truth. And so finding that is seeking out the help of your elders. Remembering the things that you didn't want to listen to, what your mother may have told you, your father, your grandmother, your grandfather, people you've met in your life. I was listening yesterday as we were talking, amongst us elders as well, we have wandered around this circle. Oh, I started off in this. I did Buddhism, I did Christianity, I did the Red Road, I did this or that. Why? Because we're wandering, we're looking. Sooner or later, you have to pick a road and walk it. Your road ain't my road, but it's a sacred road, and it's the road that will lead you back if you have your humility and you cry out. When you come, I put you in there for 4 days into the Homblecha pit, to cry out to the 4 directions, to Wakantanka, the Tankashila above, to our Mother Earth below, asking them to pity you, asking a spirit to come to take pity on me, help me. And if your heart is really broken and you're sincere, I can tell you with a certainty that it will happen, that you will receive a blessing. Someone will take pity on you from the other side. The other side are these. This is where our spirits live, on the other side of this blue circle, on the outside, in between here and Wakantanka. Well, where is that? We refer to it as the Changleshka Wakan, the Milky Way. As he was saying, we're being reborn. Renewal will be renewed. So yes, people are dying. We will all die. But people will be reborn. And so in that area, the area that we can't see, that most of us can't see, is where these things exist. Spirit helpers who have been appointed for that, to help. They exist, there they are. Also, that exist there are animal spirits that have lived here and walked on the earth that we can call and will come to us and to help us. Ancestors as well, who exist there to come and to help us. Again, I can speak to that with absolute certainty that it is real. And to the beyond that, which you don't see on this design, is the unknown. And beyond that is Wakantanka. Because we don't know beyond that. You can only go so far. But in this realm of the earth, at the center of this design that I showed you, is where we exist. The outer circle is there to help us. The invisible world that's been given to us to help. And my brother in Colombia has said that. This is universally known to all of the people in the past. And this is the pain that I was referring to before. When we are separated from that, and we're in, at least for me, and if I'm in the big city, I go to the lower 48, I go to where all these things are happening, I start to choke. I can't breathe. I have to go home. I have to come back to Alaska. So I want to say also thank all of you for the things that I heard, all of you that you do. The doctors, the books, all of these wonderful things that you do. I can never do those things. I can only walk in the woods. And that's why I wanted to speak after this young man from Colombia. Because in some ways, I can't brave what you're braving. I can brave here in the woods and live in the old way. I can hunt moose. I can tan hides. I can connect that way. And this is how I do it. This is how I find my peace, to trying to live the old way. And when I'm doing that, I'm feeling the spirit of that animal. Every animal that I work with, I'm becoming part of that animal. He's becoming part of me. He's thanking me. Many times I pick them up. People are throwing them away. People are killing for nothing. And I'll take them home and clean them and love them. And then they love me back. And here they are, right behind me. And now they come now and they help me. They help me. So I guess my point being is that you have to cry out for a vision. You have to humble yourself. If you can do that, you'll be able to connect your heart. You'll find your gift and you will be able to walk your road, because the day is coming, and it might not be so far, when I will be called back. And I know my brother Larry will understand this. The Tlingit song of the calling of the clans is one of the most powerful songs that I've ever heard. And they call the clans of the world, come forth, step forward and dance for your people. Or as the young people say today, come forward, step forward to represent. What am I going to say? I have to return home. And they say, Chanumpa Wakan, we gave you a pipe. Bring it over here. What did you do? Tell me, what did you do? You have a gift. Your elders can help you find it, whatever way you walk. So if you're wandering around in this circle and you're crossing over roads, oh, I'm going to try this inipi. I'm going to try this cool Indian stuff. Oh, I'm going to go try some cool stuff in Colombia. I'm going to go into the Native American church and try this. I'm going to go be a Buddhist. I'm going to study in the East and with the Dalai Lama. And you keep walking around and around and around, and you're still going in a circle, because you have to pick a road and walk it. Finding your road. I'm not telling you not to wander. We have to wander. And when you step onto your road, walk it. And you'll stumble, but you'll get up. This is what helps me to get up. This is my strength. You will find, by crying out, breaking yourself down, and realizing that you are unshki, pitiful. And we become many times full of ourselves, full of these things, or we become full of our own pity. We live in a pity party. Anybody want to come to my pity party today? Or you got to step out of that. The spirits, ask the spirits to pity you for your humanity, for your flesh and blood. Because all of us in this walk on this planet are here to take care of this one another, to take care of Mother Earth, and to go back home from where we came. And the answer, what did you do? And to be reborn. So on the sacred red road, which starts from the north and goes to the south, the direction in which we always face, the land of renewal in the south, where there's here in North America, where the warm winds come and renew the things. This is the same as our life cycle. And so when we cross to the other side, we will be gathered into the outer circle for a time, waiting. I will be there waiting for you to call on me. Chanupa wakan, o shimalaye, o makiayo, o makiayo. I'll come to you. And I'll help you the best that I can for the way that it was given to me to help. Also in our way, when we've been given a gift as many of you, when you find your road, as these elders, we have to give these things away. This is traditional among Native people. We give away. Why do you do that? Why do you give all our junk away? We give away everything. Why? Because we know that tomorrow I gave all my stuff away. My brother Larry, he knows that. And then so next week he says, hey, brother, here, look, we got this for you. Because it's a circle. And he will give back to me. So as I give what the spirits have given me, I become weaker and weaker. I'm giving it away. I'm giving away all of the blessings, all of my sichung, all of the power, if you want to call it power, that has been given me to see, to help, passing it on. And when I've done that, then it's time for me to go home. It's time for me to present my pipe to the Tankashis. Once again, pity me. But I want to be able to hold my head up and say I did the best that I could every day. So look for that. Look in your own heart and know that we are flesh and blood. We need help. Believe me when I tell you that our ancestors are, and spirits, people call them principalities, powers, whatever you want to call them, are out there to help us human beings. They're just waiting for you to do it. And as brother also said in Colombia, that the prophecies have come true. One of the prophets of the Oglala had also said that he was greatly saddened and hurt because people aren't even trying to catch the ball anymore. They're not even looking to the spirit world anymore. When they walk in the woods, they don't even see the tree or the bird, the other life forms, the two-legged, the four-legged. And so this is what we see now. This is the pain that we see. This is the pain that you feel when you say, I'm lost. How do I get there? I want to change. I want to do something. How do I do it? Humble yourself. And the last thing I want to say, as our sister from Hawaii, her beautiful voice, all people sing. It's universal that singing, or even a chant, is a connection to the invisible. So sing, humble yourself, cry out for help, and sing. And so I'll just end and sing a short song. Tonka shela o makiayo, o makiayo, o makiayo, hey, o makiayo. Maka kijelo yo tonka shela o makiayo o makiayo o makiayo o makiayo Maka kijelo yo oh, hetsutulo. Miayelo chanumpo wakan ikchewe chasho tankashila pilama yapalo. Oh, hetsutulo.
Thank you, my brother, to share your good words. I would like to call upon Sherif, if you could present next.
I would be glad to. I want to also thank everyone who went before me. I know this is not easy to do. I also want to watch my time so that to make sure that everyone has a chance to speak. I've got 10 million stories from 120 different cultures, and I'm going to tell you all of them right now. No, there's some things that moved me and moved my heart in some really interesting ways, and I'd like to share a couple of them with you. I have to say first, though, that I was not raised in a culture that acknowledged or recognized the importance of the heart. And that is something that I've had to develop as an adult, something I've had to develop as as I've been growing along to like, okay, now I have to open my heart. Now I have to do these things. I want to point something out to you in my background, literally my background right here. I have a little altar right behind my couch, and sitting up on that altar, right under my finger there's a candle, and around the candle there's barbed wire, and on the candle there's a stone. The barbed wire came from Auschwitz, the concentration camp during World War II. And I've been to Auschwitz a couple of times, once as a witness, and the second time as a keynote presenter, working with journalism students, talking about how could we do this? How could human beings take this kind of action of trying to exterminate another human being or an entire nation of human beings? And I have that there to remind me what our work really is. I talk about the transformation of consciousness. How do we actually change our consciousness from the kind of people who can do that and move it to the kind of people who are one with themselves, one with each other, and one with the earth? I think that it's really important that we do this. I think that I see these two great forces coming together. One of these forces are the people who are connected to an earth-based reality, okay? And you may call them indigenous. In my writings, I call them the keepers, the people who keep to the sacred ways. But one way or another, that's the people who are walking in a natural way. And that they have to come together and harmonize, soften, and open the hearts of the breakers, those who break away from the sacred hoop, those who think that they live on top of the earth and not with the earth. I was raised as a breaker. Most of us who have gone through the dominant culture schooling system are raised as breakers. But there's this grand movement that's been moving for a long time. You know, when a tree is falling, it takes a long time for it to start, and then it starts to accelerate. And right now we're in one of the acceleration modes. I want to echo something that Pacha said in his talk about ayahuasca and the other plant medicines. Right now, ayahuasca is something that is being discovered all over America, all over the United States. Many times, though, it's not being discovered in a good way. It's not being discovered in a responsible way. It's not being discovered in a respectful way. It's like, oh, I found this new drug and I'm going to go take the drug. And it's not a drug, as anybody who tries to do that finds out very quickly. It's another consciousness. And it's a way that we, all of us, can start to harmonize our consciousness and blend our consciousness. But in order to do that, we've got to recognize that our consciousness is not just in our heads, but it's in our hearts. I had plenty of head consciousness. Been to a few of the finest schools in the country. I've got degrees on my wall for consciousness, for head consciousness, and there was always something calling me and calling this deeper relationship, calling me to a deeper relationship with myself, calling me to a deeper relationship with each other, calling me to a deeper relationship with the other. As Suzanne was talking about, Donald Trump not only is my brother, he is the instrument along my path. He helps to define the path that I walk. And in that, in providing that, I have to say thank you. And I then have to do what my heart is going to call for me to do. So I'm going to end with one very quick story from Sri Lanka. We were working to end the war between the government, the Sinhalese-dominated government, and the Tamil Tigers. And we had just we were in the middle of a peace meditation that involved 500,000 people. And so one of the things that I was doing is like some of the logistics to try to get 500,000 people to come to one spot wearing white to meditate for peace. And I was interviewing people coming that were walking around to find out why they were there. And I don't speak either of the languages. And so I'm walking with two translators behind me so that they can help me to negotiate the language. And we asked this one woman the question, and she misunderstood the question. She thought I was asking her, why was she coming out of the temple? And she said, I went into the temple to give thanks to the people who helped me to come to this peace meditation today. So she said, I lit a candle for my son who gave me the 60 rupees to catch the bus to get to the peace meditation. And I lit a candle for my daughter-in-law who made my lunch for me that I could take with me so I could have something to eat. And she said the third candle I lit for my husband who told me not to come. He told me I wasn't allowed to go. He told me there's going to be trouble there. He told me that, like, who's going to fix my dinner tonight? I was going to get lost, etc. And she said, when he said that, she recognized how important it was for her to go. So he became the instrument of her destiny. Donald Trump is the instrument of our destiny. Each one of us, whether we open ourselves to that destiny or not, each one of us are helping to form this whole brand new future that lies in front of us. And yeah, on that journey, I wish us well. I will end with a prayer that we say in our organization, and because our organization is inclusive of everybody, this is a prayer that even an atheist can make. It's a modification of a Buddhist prayer, and it goes. The first part is, may I be well, may I be secure, and may I be happy, because I have to put the oxygen mask on myself first before I can help others. The second part of the prayer is, may you be well, may you be secure, and may you be happy. And in that, I am opening to all of the people on this call. And then the last part of the prayer is, may all beings be well. May all beings be secure, and may all beings be happy. And so thank you for this time.
Thank you, Sherif, for your wise words.
Thank you, Sherif. And thank you for all those who've shared already. I want to make a comment on for the audience to let everyone know that we had scheduled a 2-hour meeting, and we will allow for spaciousness so that everyone has the chance to share with their natural rhythm and whatever it is that that each of the elders are wanting to share. So that means that we will most probably be going over time. So feel free to adjust yourselves however you need to for that, so that we can continue to make sure that everyone has the time that they need to share. Thank you. And coming up next, Mona, would it be okay to have you share next? Do you feel like it's a good time for you?
Sure, that's fine. I'm happy to share today and greet each and every one of you. A good day, and give thanks that we could all join together, bring our hearts, our minds together as one towards becoming better human beings on Mother Earth. I've been giving a lot of thought to how the elders have come together, and also to the International Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers. Part of our mission has been to carry a message of peace and goodwill, and to also to protect all of our earth-based medicines and our preserve our cultures, our ways of being. And through that, we've been doing this since 2004. And I just would like to extend greetings from each and every one of the grandmothers coming from different parts of the world. Being a grandmother is a sacred responsibility, as well as being a grandfather, being a sacred responsibility to carry forward teachings that are to help us to become the best kind of person we could be in our walk of life. And I recalled the kind of foundation that my grandmother and my grandfathers and my parents, as well as all of my aunties and my uncles and other elders that have crossed my path, who took me under their wing and shared with me a part of their life, that helped them to get to this fourth stage of life of being an elder. And I thought about those things, and in my whole life, I listened to them when they spoke to me, because I believe that their time is very precious and sacred. The teachings that were given to me began with the prayer that was made when a child first comes into the world. And part of that prayer is that we as human beings, we would live a good long life, that we would aspire to old age. And when that time comes for us to go back home, that we will go to sleep peacefully and enter into the spirit realm. And these are the cycles of life that have been shared with me. We have all of our children, our grandchildren, our unborn, that we have the sacred responsibility to be mindful of what kind of world that we create, that we live in. And what are we passing on? What are we leaving for them? And as many have shared already, it comes from our heart and our relationship with one another, and how we understand that we are connected with one another, not only human beings, but also all life forms on Mother Earth, that we are all interrelated. And that interrelated foundation is through the basic elements, the water. When we were in our mother's womb, we lived inside water. So we call that our first foundation of life. And ever since then, we've been using this water. It's important to keep it clean. It's important to give thanks to it. It's important to make sure that all of the other life forms that rely on this water have good, clean water. The next foundation that we met was this air we breathe. The first thing we did when we came into this world was we took a breath of air. And when we let out that breath, we let out a sound that traveled all the way to the universe, acknowledging that we are here in this life. And all of the spirits and all of creation looked at us, heard us, recognized us. And so ever since then, we've been using this air to breathe, to live, to communicate through our voice. And the next foundation we met was the fire. When a baby is born, before that child is taken out and is seen by Dawa, grandfather's son, that child is held, kept in the home, kept in the darkness. And if they take that baby out, that baby is covered so the sun doesn't see it. That baby is protected that way for 21 days. And on that 21st day in the early morning dawn, the baby and the mother are taken outside and the baby is introduced to the sun. And the baby is given a name. And that prayer that the grandfather's son will watch over them each and every day throughout their lifetime. And then the fourth foundation is our mother, the earth. There was a time when we all maybe just were laid down on the floor on Mother Earth. And at first we just lay there on our back. And then at some point rolled over on our stomach and lay there, feeling Mother Earth underneath us in our sacred connection. Then there was a time when we first sat on Mother Earth, feeling our connection with her. And then there was a moment when our caregiver stood us up, put our feet on Mother Earth. And if you think about it, if you ever look at a baby when you touch their feet to the earth, they dance, they get happy. And that's their connection, and they can feel the love and compassion that she has for them. And then there came a time when you stood on Mother Earth for the very first time. And when you stood there, you ever watch a baby who stands for the first time? They go. And they're happy. because they are feeling that sacred connection with Mother Earth. And for the first time, they're feeling that balance with all of the divine creations, all of this foundation of life. And then there comes a moment we take our first step and start to walk on our path of life. And ever since then, that's what we've been doing. But as we've grown, there's a time when we lose that connection. Don't give thanks, don't give gratitude, but it's time. It's time for us to come back to the basic foundation of life and give thanks for it. To give an offering of water, to give an offering of tobacco, give an offering of food, give an offering of your thought, your feeling, your prayer, in order for us to maintain that connection and our connectedness that gives us strength, that gives us courage, gives us will, gives us the understanding and the wisdom that we are seeking physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. We're seeking that. And I've heard people say, you know, this is the Great Awakening. The Hopi people have talked about this, that there was going to come this time, that there would come a time when we would see some days of darkness. And when I first heard that, I thought, you know, literally, that the earth was going to get dark. But now, the way I understand it is that we are all facing this challenge. We're facing this challenge of looking at our life, and some see it as darkness. But like I understand, and what I was told is that we find our way. It's like the life cycle of the caterpillar that crawls on Mother Earth. And all she can see is what's directly in front of her as she crawls on Mother Earth. Then there comes a time that she goes into her cocoon, and she wraps herself up and goes into complete darkness. And while she's in that cocoon, she completely breaks down into a fluid. And in that time, at some point, begins to what are called the imaginal discs of transformation. They activate, and she begins to form again within that cocoon. And there comes a time when she's fully formed and she breaks out of that cocoon. She comes out transformed into a beautiful butterfly. But the thing is, she cannot be helped out of that cocoon. If there's any kind of interference in her coming out of that cocoon by herself, on her own strength, she will be weakened. She may be crippled, and she may not be able to fly, and her wings will not gain the strength that she needs in order for her to fly in her life. When she's ready, she will flick her wings and she will lift off and she will fly. And she will see the world from a whole completely different perspective. She will see the beauty of the world. She will see the beauty of the flowers and the plant life and all of this beautiful creation before her. And so I think about us as being in this transformation, that it's good, that it's beautiful, that we as individuals, we might have a place, maybe as a child that we went to, a body of water, a river, lake, stream, a spring in its natural state that you went to. And it brought you great joy. It brought you great joy to be able to go to the water, to feel it, the moisture in the air, to breathe it, to go to it and touch it, to go into it. My mother told me that when you come upon these waters, the first thing you do is go to it and give thanks to it and introduce yourself to it and ask for permission to enter it or to take some of it. And at some point, you might even make a little offering, maybe a little tobacco, maybe a little piece of bread. You make an offering to it before you take it. And so you introduce yourself to that water. And the thing about it is, right now with everyone in this quarantine, you all can go to those places. We've been given a gift of memory. And through that memory, you can call upon that sacred connection. You can even go ahead and take a glass of water and put it in front of you and talk to it and ask for its good blessing of cleansing, of refreshment, of purification to fill your body, your heart, mind, body, and spirit with its goodness so you can feel good. And you can do that with your children. I used to do that with my little girl, my youngest daughter, and my middle daughter and my son. I'd call them to me and I'd have the water there that I prayed with. And I'd say, come have some water. It's good for you. My youngest daughter's name was Shell. So I would say, all shells need water. And she would drink it and she would get a big smile and feel real good. And that's how I would bless my children. Now I did that with my grandchildren. I do that with myself each and every day. And so in this way, you're not looking outside of yourself, but you're looking within yourself and you're receiving this good blessing, this good connection that starts with our basic foundation of life. And it's good that the wisdom weavers have come together to share among each other and to share with others, to be able to give some sense of well-being during this time. I think about all of those that are less fortunate than us. I pray for them. I pray that for the ones who have gone back into the spirit world, and I pray for their loved ones, the ones that are in mourning, to give them comfort. And I pray for all of the other creations that we live with here in this world. Wherever you stand in the world, on Mother Earth, you can do that. You can take care of yourself that way. When I have moments that I don't make my morning prayer and things start to kind of go awry, I stop and I say, what is going on? Then I remember, I didn't do my prayer. So I have to go out, I go do my prayer. And that gives me comfort, and that makes me feel like, well, whatever comes my way, whatever crosses my path, I say to it, it's okay. I prayed about it. It's okay. It's being taken care of. And in that way, I have belief, I have faith, I have trust in the great creator that it's going to be taken care of. And so I just wanted to leave that with you. And I'd like to sing a little song if it's okay. Akuba hiana hene, hey ana na hiana 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 hiana hene. Akuba hiana hene, hey ana na hiana hiana hene yo. Bakuba hiana hene, hey anana hiana 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 hiana hene. Bakuba hiana hene, hey anana hiana hiana hene yo. Escali, 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 escali. Thank you.
Escali, mahalo, Grandmother Mona, for these wonderful words and vibrations of peace and nourishment. Thank you so much for this beautiful gift that you've shared today. We're so grateful for all the beautiful weavings that are happening in this miraculous moment that we can all be together from our different vibrations on the earth. Coming here, just I want to honor again this incredible moment to be together, and just so grateful for the blessings of wisdom weavers to bring us here into this sacred space, and for everyone who's tuning in from home, just feeling the potency of all of our hearts together. And would love to welcome some words and inspiration from Kumo Sabra, if you would be willing to share your heart with us at this time.
Well, thank you very much, all of you. This is quite an amazing conference, and I actually was trying to direct some to Louis because I know he has much to share with us as well as all of you. Thank you, Mona, Sherif, Edward, all of you for your beautiful words. And Pacha, oh my gosh, how wonderful to see you, to hear you way down there in Peru. We have all touched on the very similar themes here. The need to keep the vision, the need to share, the need to heal and to have harmony. This is truly an historic time. We have a word for it in our culture called huli'ia. Huli'ia means that which is above will come down, that which is below will come up. It is a change. It is a change in the world, and yet we will survive. It may not seem that way, it may not feel that way for many people, but we will survive. We will hold the aloha. And if there's any one message I have for everyone today, and you've all touched on it, is the sharing of aloha, which in English simply comes down to love. But alo means to be in the presence of ha, the breath of life. Aloha. You know, when you feel someone coming to your door, you feel them before you hear them or see them knock on the door, or you get a call or you get a message from someone, you get the thought first. That is their aloha that's traveling through the atmosphere, across the sea, across the ocean. You think of them, boom, they are somehow there. We need to hold the vision of aloha. We need to share love. As difficult as it may be at times, I pray every day for your families, for your safety, for yourselves, to hold that aloha and to ho'omau. Ho'omau means to continue on the path that you have chosen, all of these spiritual leaders here today, that you have chosen the path of harmony and of aloha. That's my short message for the day. I'll pass it on to Louis.
Thank you, Kumar Sabra. Louis.
Thank you, Sabra, for the beautiful words and the teaching of aloha. It really touches my heart. And listening to all of the elders that have spoken before me and the elders that will speak, I'm grateful that you carry that knowledge the way that you do, and the great gifts that you give to many people in these uncertain times. And I know during these times now, many people are looking to this as end of days times, but it's not. It's the beginning of days time. We have to reconnect ourselves, connect that fire that is in our heart, that fire that the Creator has given each of us. We have to move from the time of the mind into the time of the heart. That connection that we need to make with the Creator through our ceremonies and through our teachings and through our fellowship is a way in which we can reconnect with that. I mean, the mind certainly has its purposes and its functions, and it's a tool, but the real heart that we have, where our soul, where our spirit rests inside each of us, that is that fire from the Creator. When I listen to you elders speak and share, it reminds me of a prophecy that was shared with me by a Cree elder from Northern Ontario. He was at a conference of educators, and he presented to them a dream that he'd had that evening before. And he said, in his dream state, he was in this world that was dark. It was like a permanent dusk. It was dark. He still can see a little, but it was dark. And it was cold. And people were walking around trying to keep themselves warm. And every now and again, someone would ask him, do you have any fire that I can warm myself by? And he goes, I don't have any fire. And people were walking around and they were scared in this dark land. And he heard someone say, in the next valley, Indians have fire. And he found that to be interesting. So he walked up the side of this hill, and over this hill, he can see a vast valley. And in the center of that valley, there were many people gathered there, many, many people coming from all over the place, and they were all in that valley. But in the very center of that crowd of people was a little circle. And in that little circle, he can make out some people in the center of it. And so he made his way down to the center of that valley, made his way through the people to go to the edge of that circle to see what was going on. And as he stood there at the edge of the circle, what he saw was what was making the circle were all these people locked arm in arm. People from all walks of life, all colors of people were all linked arm in arm, and they were holding this circle. In the center of that circle were indigenous people making fire, trying to make fire. And every now and again, they'd get a little flame going and they'd put kindling to it. But people were demanding that fire. They said, you give us that fire. It is not just yours. And they would rush in and the people would hold the circle, but every time they would move, they would cause a wind, a gust of wind that would blow it out. And so the elders that were there said, give us time. Let us build this fire. Let us build it strong and we will share it with everyone. And I believe that we are in those times now. Of course, the times of uncertainty, the darkness, the things that we can't see, the things that we fear. We are here with the ancient knowledge, traditions, and teachings of all of our ancestors combined together to help give that fire back to the people. That fire is your heart. That fire is the rekindling that we need in order to move into the time of the heart. So we think with that heart again. That red road is the heart road. And it's a difficult road, but it's the road of honesty. And it's a road in which we have to rebuild our relationships on. It leads us into that connection with the Creator, with ourselves, and with all of creation that is around us. So in order to move there, we have our ceremonies, as was mentioned before by other speakers. Make those offerings, connect with Mother Earth, speak with the spirit world. When you start to move with the heart, you move with purpose. And all those gifts that the Creator sent you when you were born. And as babies, when they're born, they have little hands like this, little fists, they're closed. But they're holding on to those gifts that the Creator sent them here with. Each one of you are sacred. Each one of you are carrying purpose and gift to benefit your relatives and to benefit all of us here. And on the heart road, we will make sure that the nurturing takes place to help those gifts grow and honor us all with your presence and your gifts. Hey, thank you.
Thank you, Louis. Olivia, you introduce the next speaker.
Helen, would you please share?
Thank you so much. I feel tongue-tied because I'm listening in such open reverence to this today. And when I was introduced, there was one word that popped out that Olivia had in my biography, and it was the word vulnerability. How does climate change make us vulnerable? How does the coronavirus make us vulnerable now? And listening, I can't forget what Pachamama said from Colombia, gesturing back to his mountain. And I have here a stone that he gave to Suzanne when we were in Kauai. And he said, this stone is from my mountain. Carry it with you near the top of the mountain. So she's had it in her pocket all this time. And I said, hey, give me that stone for a second. So she granted me this opportunity to hold it. And how we're so connected. We're just, to see him there, to see all of you, the experience we had in the Wisdom Weavers gathering is so, you can just feel it suffuse this call. And so what Pachamama said today, it kind of banged me on the head. He said, the people who are most vulnerable right now are our elders, and we are the elders on this call. These are the people, as I think he said, who the earth is taking back, are going to the mountains. And I think the one thing that you see in this call and hear as people speak from another part of themselves is their joyousness in giving up and transforming, as Suzanne said, the great disruption. And the years of work that I did with Suzanne on the Pribilof Islands and later on the Commander Islands where, you know, your very way of life was wrenched away by outside attitudes. And to see how people had to change and had to grow, you know, for decisions made thousands of miles away, is to me what is so remarkable about this time as we go inside ourselves and make our journeys. And so I just wanted to say that my final comment here is the forgiveness of myself is so profound. And by forgiving myself, I forgive others. And when Suzanne was talking about the fear of that blank page, I can come to that as a writer in my creative career. But I found over the past 10 or 12 years, I started picking, I gravitated towards visual art because I felt I wasn't as judged. And the way it manifested in me was through my non-dominant hand. It's this hand here. And when I gravitate to this left hand, I'm usually right-handed, it tells me things, it draws things that are beyond judgment for me and are part of my forgiveness and part of my not fearing that blank page and are part of me growing to embrace whatever this miracle that we're living through now represents for me, for all of you. And how does one come into one's heart? For me, it's through this hand. And so I just want to thank you all for your beautiful, exceptional feelings today, and how extraordinary it has been to be part of this weaving. So thank you.
Thank you, Helen. Now we're coming close to the end of this talk. I want to thank all the elders for coming from their heart and sharing what you have to share at this particular point in time. Now, the Yupik elders here in Southwest Alaska, they call this the reverse society or the inside out society. And because we reversed all the laws for living. And what the Wisdom Weavers elder gathering has determined is that the world needs to change its consciousness now. And they know, even though they won't say it, that we human beings, it's not a question about whether or not Mother Earth is going to survive. She has survived for billions of years. She's going to survive for billions more. It's really a question of whether or not we are going to survive. And this generation of people alive today are going to make that decision. And there are no more gurus. We are all gurus right now. If we learn how to let the heart lead the way. We've got to get rid of the clutter in the mind that Suzanne talks about. This is a thing that keeps us from going to the heart. And I'll just tell a very personal story. I got double pneumonia when I was 6 years old. And it was in a government-run company town. I was a slave of the US government that very few people know about because the US government kept it secret. And the clinic was run by a government doctor. And my mother took me down to the clinic and the doctor said, "We get him to the cold water right now." When they put me in a tub of cold water and I passed out. And I went to a place that is inexplicable. It cannot be explained in words. It's a place of deep, deep peace. And I felt like I was part of everything in existence. And when I would wake up out of that being passed out, I would wake up in my own excrement, in my own urine. And the doctor did not allow any of our people to go to the clinic, including my parents. And the doctor said in front of me while I was conscious, he says, get him to the cold water because he might die. I was 6 years old. And of course that frightened me. And then I pass out. Then I go to this place of great peace. And it took me 3 weeks to regain consciousness. And when I returned home, I was a different person. I didn't trust my parents anymore because unbeknownst to me, the government agent prevented anybody from visiting the clinic. And so I thought my parents had abandoned me. And I trusted no one anymore. And my sister Rena said, you know, you changed. And you used to eat with the family, and now you take your plate into the bedroom and eat by yourself. And that imprinted on me something that I had to struggle with for much of my life, where I didn't trust anyone. I didn't even trust myself. I didn't trust my body. And then when I was 33 years old, I remembered that my people were very special. They were very spiritual. They were so spiritual that they evolved and developed a wonderful and rich culture and music and dance and song and prayer and craftsmanship and all this kind of thing. And they also developed the most densely populated linear mile of shoreline in North America. That in a place that's very hard to eke out a living. And we were the only people that didn't have any footwear even in the wintertime in Alaska. We didn't have any plans for the next day. We just trusted implicitly in ourselves, in our lives, in the universe, in a whole we call the spirit that lives in all things. We just trusted. We didn't worry about things in the past or what it's going to be in the future. And my elder on St. Paul, Father Michael Lesnikoff, he said, well, look, the birds don't worry about where they get their food the next day. Why should we? And are we any different? And of course, the obvious answer is no. And then at 33 years old, I was at the peak of patriarchy. I was Commissioner of Commerce and Economic Development for the state of Alaska, a cabinet post. I was the vice chair of a $3 billion company. I was the head of 17 boards and councils. And, you know, I decided to do what my people did. And in one day, I gave it all up. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't plan for the first time in my life. I didn't know where I was going to live. I didn't know anything. And except that I knew that I had to leave my home, St. Paul Island. And the elders told me, well, when you leave, you have a choice to leave or not. But if you leave, you must let go of St. Paul as your home. Your home will now be the world. And it took me years and a great deal of effort. You know, when I gave up everything in one day, people thought I was crazy, but I was following my heart. And all my so-called friends disappeared. They were my friends because of the positions that I held. So I didn't have any external reference to anything. You know, before I would look at what people would think of me and use that as a frame of reference for who I am. But then all of a sudden, everything was gone. And I was faced with myself. And I had to look deep into myself. And it was a hard journey. And But when I let go the way I did, very shortly after, that's when the magic happened. That's when I went to Suzanne's place in Canmore, Canada, and we got invited by a group of elders from the Morley Reserve in Alberta. There's 4,000-acre reserve, and the people that were conducting the ceremonies all had white hair and were wearing buckskins, and they only talked their own language. So I just watch, listen, and learn. And in the middle of the ceremony, the elder stands up and says, "We're speaking English for the benefit of our friend from Alaska. We know why you are here." And of course, I thought I was there because they invited us. But no, they knew something else. And they were praying in a ceremony that lasted about 4 hours with 4 sacred pipes in the 4 directions. And the smoke didn't go up. They went sideways to weave together this thread that went up. And I said, whoa, look, these are real elders. And they said, the spokesman said, "We are speaking English for the benefit of our friend from Alaska. We want you to know that we have been praying and we have a message for you to carry. And the message is that we know that people think they have forgotten their spiritual ways. We want you to know that it has been kept for you in the unseen world, waiting for you to wake up in spirit." And that was the last he said, then they continued their ceremonies. This was the beginning of my own spiritual journey at 6 years old. But what it means to me about everybody here is that it's a tough journey to move from your mind to your heart. One of my elders, Howard Luke, said, you know, anybody who has to speak from a piece of paper in front of a group of people has no business being there. And I did that. I said, I'm going to follow my elders. And so I dropped from my mind to my heart, and that's when I could access my heart. But what it requires of each of us now is to let go of everything. The Hopi and Maori say, let go of the sides of the riverbank, move to the center, and find those who have done the same and celebrate. What that means is letting go of the sides of the riverbank means letting go of all human attachments and surrender to this life that is greater than us and is us at the same time. Move to the center means moving to our proverbial center, our heart, and the center of the river of life. Find those who have done the same is find those who have had the courage to let go of the sides of the riverbank. And this is what's required of all of us right now. If we want to help our children and our great grandchildren, we have got to let go of everything, be present in the moment and in the heart, and do what your heart is telling you to do, because that is the only place that we are going to access the individual gifts that we have for the world. And we're going to reverse this reverse society that is saying me, 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 to say all of us. So I would like to ask any of the elders if they have any closing words.
Just like to say thank you to all of you for sharing. Thank you for the people that took time from their life to come and listen. And that give thanks to the spirits for giving us what to say, and that they will take pity on some of the people, on us, and help us on this journey, as Larry has said, that we must do, to let go of these things, to come to the center and become that group that Lewis was talking about. our arms locked, protecting the fire. Make it strong. Leave it for the grandchildren, great-grandchildren, as Larry has said, as we were referring yesterday, to leave something behind. There were some powerful messages that had been sent, including your own, Larry, the vision that the elders had seen, and what Lewis had said, the vision of the elder. But this is now, it's for all the people of the world, as our Colombian brother has said, as we've all said. And so I just want to thank all of you, thank Tonkashila Wakantanka, and hope to be seeing you again.
Thank you, my brother. Anyone else before we close and say the closing prayer?
Larry, and I'd like to remind everyone who's listening here that we will be having more of these events. We'll be having talking circles, which is for community shares. And we will also be having more elders' wisdom shares, such as this one, where specific elders can go more in depth in their shares. This time, thank you for having so many. It's a really amazing welcome and beginning to a longer series, especially right after having shown the film on Wednesday. And thank you for the energy that you have all cemented here and shared with us all beyond your words. And thank you for your words and your stories and your messages. I'm really happy that we have a recording of this because I'll be watching it again. And a reminder that it's here for everyone. You can share with your friends. And for the future events, please connect with wisdomweavers.world, our website. On there, you can join the newsletter if you haven't already. And you can also find Wisdom Weavers on Facebook if you type in Wisdom Weavers of the World. And as long as you're keeping an eye on both of those sources, you can hear from us about the future events. So thank you again to all those who are here today and all those who shared and all those who listened. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Maybe I can ask Ed, would you mind saying the closing prayer? And then ask Kuma Sabra if she would sing her song.
Okay. O Tankashila Wakantanka, Lila Wopila Tankashila Hina, Oga Kahana, Chantesit, Pilama Yapalo Tankashila, Pilama Yapalo. Tankashila Mitahina, Oshimai, Omakia. Ohamani Maka Ina Tankashi. Lila Wopila. Oh, grandfather, creator spirits. We thank you today for being with us. Ask that you send helpers and send spirits to sit by these elders, to sit by the people who have reached out to you, Tankashi. To send those who are still not listening, messages in the winds, and the people they meet. Join our opening prayer with our sister and for those that are yet to be born, that they come with wisdom, that certain ones be given the gifts to keep things going for the Oyate, for the people. All these things that we do, Tankashila, in the ways that you've given to each of us, to each of the peoples of the world. We do these things so that the people can live, and so that we can live with our relatives. We'll hit it to it.
Thank you, my brother. Kumusebra.
Thank you so much, Ilarian. And mahalo to each and every one of you for your time today, and most importantly, for your deep mana'o, for your deep thoughts that come from your pu'uvai, from your heart. I close with this chant that speaks of asking for blessings on each and every one of you, but not just those of us who are sitting here watching today, but for those generations to come. We are really one people. We are really one heart. O kaula e ke akua, e nana mai ka o mau pula pula, e ola ka niko, a hau maka i ole, a palalau hala, a kau i ka pua ane a hane. Alaila lave aku oia ui ke aloha ke a e. Peace, love, aloha, harmony to all of you. Aloha.
Aloha. Thank you all for listening to us, and you'll hear the recordings of it if you want it again. And please do spread the word about Indigenous elders from all over the world. Their voices need to be heard, and they are ready to share, as you can see today. Thank you all.
Thank you.